It's terrible dealing with these salespersons, especially the ones who don't care for you. There's some good salespeople out there, but they'll let you do anything and they don't really care. So here is my foreign car. What I got was a 2007, and well, I didn't mean to show the dealership, but that's the dealership. A 2007 Honda Accord, and it's EXL, so it does have leather seats. And there's my email and stuff. Please don't blow me up. But this is my vehicle. I did end up getting a hitch on it, a little modded out, because when I did move to Florida, that's another story time, but when I left college, I had to move all my stuff down to Florida to move in with family, and I ended up getting a hitch and just getting a U-Haul because that was the cheapest thing. This baby right here cost me in total $5,500 from the Honda dealership. I really was finessing and I really was negotiating and haggling because I had the money on me and I really needed that vehicle. And I went in one day, checked it out. There was no other dealerships with a vehicle at that price. I think the price they were selling it was $5,000, and they just discounted $2,000 off the selling price prior to me coming to the dealership. So this was a great deal. A 2007 Honda Accord. It had a little under 150,000 miles when I bought it. So, you know, a great deal for me. And I went in and, you know, they tried to add the taxes and dealer fees, but I said, just knock that off the price. You know, I got cash. I could pay it in full right now. We're not going to finance anything. So what's the issue, man? Like, come on, I really want this car. I really need this car. I've been saving up for it. And that's what we ended up doing. He negotiated with, you know, when they walk to the back and talk to the other guy who tells them whether the price is good or not. He ends up coming back and saying, yeah, if we do $5,500, you got a deal. I also went and took the car on a test drive and took it to a Pep Boys right before. So there was no problems. The car checked out. The person told me, yeah, it's a good car. It's in shape. It's not going to have any major problems anytime soon. So that's what I did. You know, I purchased it and I actually love it. It drives great. It has everything I want. The sunroof, heated seats, which I don't really need now in Florida. Maybe if I had cool seats, that would be a little better, but it is what it is. You know, the AC is working fine. Again, I don't really need heat because down here in Florida is a sauna all the time. But I like it, and it's really showed me how much money you can keep in your pocket and how much you can save and invest or do anything else with, not having a $400-500 monthly car payment. My insurance is a lot cheaper because this is a average person's vehicle and a reliable, safe vehicle. So my insurance rate dropped a whole bunch, and I took that over, so that's not another bill on my mother. And Honda Accords do kind of guzzle gas, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a lot of highway miles and stretches out here in my part of Florida, so out here in Central Florida. So it's not too much of a big deal. I still only have to fill up about every week and a half or 2 weeks, unless I have a busy week in real estate and I'm, you know, running all around the world for different buyers and trying to help renters lease, because, you know, I'm a new realtor and I don't have many deals yet. So my tip to you, if you are a younger person that doesn't have a first car, or you're looking to buy a new car and you're not yet established, is don't worry about what other people are going to think. It doesn't really matter what they drive, because you know that if they're driving a luxury BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes, they're probably paying an arm and a leg for that. With insurance, with their maintenance, you know, that's a whole lot more than a car like this costs, because I don't have that much maintenance, and the maintenance that I do have is cheaper because this is a average vehicle where parts are common and everything is pretty easy to do. And that's about it. You will save a lot of money by just saving up and purchasing a car like this. And even if you can't save up because it takes you too long to save, because you're not getting paid that much in your job, even financing something like this that you could pay off in 2 years or less, max 3, will set you up way better in the long term than purchasing a vehicle that's going to take you 5 years and tons of interest to pay off for you to have nothing to show for it. Because at the end of the day, new model cars are always going to come out. Somebody's always going to get the newer car. People are always going to lease so they get those new cars. So don't do it. If you're on this journey with me to financial freedom and financial success, just save up or finance, if you really have to, a cheap vehicle. Or if you live in the city, don't buy a vehicle at all. If you don't have to travel that often, Ubers and public transportation will work. I was using Ubers and I was walking and I was taking the bus every once in a while because I was saving money like that. I was paying no more than $250 a month to do all my traveling, when before I was paying $450 just to own the car and have not even fully own it, just have the keys to the car until I pay it off. So it's great now because I own the car, I have the title, and I don't have to worry about a monthly car payment. So that's my best tips to you, is don't worry about what other people say. If people look at you funny or people don't want to hang out with you no more because you have an older, beat down looking car, they're not your friends for you. They're only in it for what you offer and what you have in your pockets. And those people are not going to help you on your road to financial success. So forget what everybody else thinks, save your money, and buy a nice used vehicle like your friend here did. And keep your money in your pocket because you look great in them pants. I'm not going to use that. What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I go by the name of RJ, and I hope you're having a great day and you're living well. Today, I wanted to bring you guys through my car journey as a young, not only real estate agent, but just as a young person in general. I thought it was an interesting video topic idea to take you through my car journey, my experience, you know, the different cars I've owned, and what I've learned studying finance, studying personal finance, and watching all the mentors on YouTube. So let's just get straight into it. Shortly before my 17th birthday, I had gotten a car from my aunt. Love you to death, auntie. Thanks for giving me a free car. Now, this wasn't a special car. This was a 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. It had it was just hitting 200,000 miles. And, you know, it was a little beat up. It had a couple dents, but it was running, and it was running well. So that was my first car, and I really enjoyed that car. I can't lie. I do miss it sometimes because that was my first car. That was the car I did all my first journeys with. And I think that was great that my first car was actually given to me because I didn't have any money. You know, I was working a part-time job in the mall, but that was about it. And that wasn't going to be enough to ever afford a car. And buying a car like that from the dealership probably would have broken down a lot sooner. But that Jeep lasted me for a good year. I didn't put too many miles on it because I didn't have too many places to go. My job was 10 minutes away from my house, less than a mile. But it did its job and it got me around. So when that car finally broke down, and when I say broke down, I was talking about, well, I am talking about, you couldn't even turn it on. Like, you had to try 3, 4, 5 times turning that key before the engine would finally start up. And there was minor issues in the past, but nothing major. So with this, it kind of was dead. The car, we weren't ready to put $1,000 or $2,000 or any more money into fixing up a very old beat down car that, you know, just made its time. 200, and I would say 30 to 250,000 miles is a great mileage point on a vehicle. So anyways, after I, you know, finished with that car, luckily I didn't get into no accidents. I'm a pretty good driver, I would say. It was over. And here is where the mistakes start to come in. This is right before I began really studying finance and really taking personal finance seriously. So what did I go do? I went to my local Nissan dealership and end up purchasing a 2016 Nissan Maxima SL because I wanted leather seats. And this was a horrible decision, you know. And one thing I learned about dealerships is they will let you sign for a car and they will push through your financing no matter who you are and what your circumstances are. Because I did not have money to really pay for that car. I just had enough to pay for the car note, but I didn't have enough to pay for my car insurance. And thankful to my mother who was taking care of the car insurance and had me on hers, but I should have never had that car, and I could not really afford all the maintenance of that car. If you know, a Nissan Maxima only takes plus or premium gas, so I was paying extra a month for gas. It just was some trouble. But I did like the car. It was a faster car. All right, and here is where things get even worse. So after about 6 months, maybe closer to a year of me owning that Nissan Maxima, I logged back into the bank, which at the time was Santander, a European type bank if I'm not mistaken. And I had a horrible interest rate on this loan. I had probably like a 17% interest rate if I'm not wrong. Terrible. So I was paying about $450 a month, crazy ridiculous, for this car. And for $450 a month, I did the math and I ended up paying about $5,000 towards that car. But when I looked at my loan balance, I only paid $2,000 down on the loan. So this just threw me in a frenzy. I was like, no, this is not right. I need to go get another car. Which isn't the right way to do it. The right way to probably do it was to just have sold the car and saved up to pay off the little bit of the balance left, or go and finance a cheap vehicle, something that would run for the next couple years, but just so I don't have a huge major loan again, I could get a better interest rate and a better monthly payment. But being a young person and right before I really took personal finance seriously, what did I do? Trying to keep up with the Johnsons and keep up with the social status, I went and traded in my 2016 Nissan Maxima for a 2016 BMW 3 Series. I bought this car right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I would say March is when I signed for this car. And me thinking I was pulling a fast one and getting one over, I bought this car, hiked up my insurance rate, but again, I wasn't paying my insurance. And through that, my car payment goes up another $50. And this is the justification on why they were able to let me take that car, was because only going up $50 a month for a young person who barely makes the $450 he has to pay right now was good enough for the bank to get a loan, to give a loan out to the dealership for me to buy the car. I'm the only person in the dealership, by the way, and the dealership is technically closed because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but they let me walk away with this car. After I walk off the car and I get my loan statement from the bank, I automatically put in the 3-month deferral because we're in the middle of the pandemic and that's what they were offering. So I thought I was doing something good, because now instead of having a $20,000 loan for the Nissan Maxima, I was now at 32 or 31,000 and some change for a BMW 3 Series from 2016 that costs no more than $17,000, and you probably could find it cheaper elsewhere. I know, I am making horrible, horrible life decisions. Anyways, I drive this car like a maniac. I have the speed sensor, the alert. If you ever drove a BMW and you have that alert on, I had it up to 100 miles per hour, and I was making it a goal to hit that 100 miles per hour every single time I drove the car. Terrible. Luckily, I didn't get into any major accidents or bad accidents. Fast forward to the last 2 months or month of me owning that car, I went to another dealership, a Dodge dealership, because I heard that if you lease a car, they'll roll over whatever amount is left on your loan into the lease. And so you would pay extremely high. I was gonna be looking at $650 to $700 minimum for this lease. But after the 2 or 3 year lease period, I would be debt free from any car loans, and I would just have no car. So I probably wasn't gonna have no money saved up, but at least I didn't have nothing. He told me if you wanted to, you could, but thank you to the dealer who told me this, because this is a totally different dealership, nothing to do with Nissan. He basically gave me some under the table advice of, hey, if this car ends up totaled or stolen or wrecked or anything like that, insurance will give you a check for the amount of the car, which will go towards the loan balance, and you basically will be left with the rollover balance. And boom, I run into the back of this lady's car. And as soon as I run into the back of this lady's car, old man rear ends me. So I get sandwiched in between 2 cars in the middle of the highway. My lights on the dash are going off, my engine is overheating. You know, the car is looking terrible. And at the time, I'm not thinking this is beneficial to me. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just crashed my car. I'm super upset, and I don't know what's gonna happen after this. The police end up coming, writing up the report, and they end up towing my car to the mechanic of my choice. So I go to the mechanic, you know, not too far from my house, so I can walk there and check up on the car when it's finished or whenever I need to. And what happens is insurance ends up totaling the car and paying off my loan balance. Anyways, so after I crashed the car, this is when I finally take finance seriously, and I'm really watching videos and I'm really taking the advice. And the Dave Ramsey was just eating at me, you know, you're stupid, you know. He was really just biting me and telling me off like, hey, if you want to be successful and you want to be somebody and you want to be more than society wants you to be, you have to start taking things serious. So that's what I started doing. I really started saving money. I began walking. I lived in the city, so everything I needed was pretty close. It was in a relatively close distance. My farthest walk was from work, which was like an hour, so it wasn't that bad. It was nice. It was summertime at the time too, so it was shorts and t-shirt. It was good. And I pretty much saved up as much money as I can, and I was hustling a little bit, but we can't talk about that. Yeah. And I saved up enough cash, and because I did open up credit at 18 years old and I was doing pretty good with my credit, you know, I knew not to max out credit cards and not be able to pay them back. I was able to buy a better vehicle. And that's the vehicle I will be showing you guys today. And I'm kind of happy I did this, and it was, but you're awesome. Thank you for watching, and Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.